If you're a regular viewer of this YouTube channel, then you'll remember me reporting back in March 2022 that the Sonova Group, who own hearing aid brands such as Phonak and Unitron, acquired the consumer division of Sennheiser, which at the time gave me goosebumps thinking about the possibility of more people with hearing loss having easier access to hearing aid technology. And I was particularly excited that with the strong image and branding of Sennheiser, we should see a huge uplift of the 30 million people in the US and 4.5 million people in the UK that have some form of hearing loss and could benefit from wearing hearing aid technology, but for one reason or another, choose not to wear one. If you've made it this far in the video, then you're probably interested in keeping up to date with the latest news in the hearing technology world. And if that's the case, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel, press that grey notifications bell, and you'll be updated every time we release a new video. So this is Sennheiser's debut product under the Sonova umbrella. Available to pre-order from January 2023 and retailing at $849.99 or £749 in the UK, this isn't a hearing aid. And it also doesn't hit the criteria to qualify for an over-the-counter hearing aid. And it's also not just an earbud either, but a TWS earbud. So what exactly is it and what does it do? Sennheiser's main focus is for better hearing of conversations in noisy listening situations, such as busy restaurants, for example. And I'm expecting big things from this tech, as having the backing of Sonova and their 75 plus years of researching and producing hearing aid technology, this should mean that they know a thing or two about improving speech in background noise. As this tech is using Sonova chip technology, Sennheiser are boasting that conversations and telephone calls should be enhanced with its automatic scene detection feature and active noise cancellation working in tandem, which will analyze your environment and implement the appropriate speech enhancement level based on your surroundings. Looking at them from the outside, they're sporting twin microphones to provide directional beamforming, which will, without question, be better than some of the new single microphone devices out there, and in theory should provide better hearing in background noise than the likes of the Sony CRE-C10s or the Eargo 7s, who only sport a single mic. Of course, the Sony and Eargo devices are a lot smaller, so it's a trade-off between cosmetics and effectiveness in background noise. And Sony's CRE-E10 OTC hearing aid does have twin mics. It is, however, on par in terms of size with the Sennheiser Conversation Clear Plus. The earbuds themselves have interchangeable tips on the end, of which you can choose from small, medium, or large. Plus, you can also change these little retention ear fins at the top, again with a small, medium, and large, to ensure that they stay comfortably in your ears. The Sennheiser logo itself is actually a button which allows you to cycle through 3 different modes that we'll come on to later, and they also have a tap feature, which with a double tap of your ear allows you to enable your voice assistant, such as Siri or Google Assist. The setup process involves using the Conversation Clear app, in which the app provides you with a couple of different clips to listen to, and you select which is the appropriate and most comfortable level for you to hear. It's pretty basic, and as they don't fall under the OTC sphere, the hearing devices aren't self-fitting, i.e. you can't fully personalize the levels to your hearing loss. Yet you can tweak and adjust the setting based on what works for you in your particular environment at that moment in time, providing you with a slider to boost the clarity of speech. When set up, the app provides you with 3 different modes. Firstly, relax mode, which allows you to adjust the amount of background noise when you're not looking at enhancing speech. Then you have the communication and streaming modes, which optimize your listening experience, whether you have someone in front of you or if you're streaming phone calls or media such as the radio or podcast from your phone. Whilst the Conversation Clear Pluses are compatible with any Bluetooth device, you have access to the full list of features via the smartphone app if paired with the smartphone running iOS or Android. The battery life on these devices is only for 9 hours using the industry standard lithium-ion battery technology, meaning that even if you did want to wear them more often, it isn't possible. And similarly to a set of AirPod Pros or Eargo 7s, the case itself is a battery pack, meaning that 2 extra 9-hour charges are stored within the case itself, and you can charge on the go with the earbuds stored in your pocket. One thing that I really do find interesting is that Sennheiser are following the footsteps of Jabra, who market their Jabra Enhance Plus as a situational use device. Now, whilst I love the concept of any of these devices working as and when, in reality, hearing technology needs to be worn more often. In fact, ideally, it needs to be worn all of the time for it to be as effective as possible. And there's a whole retraining process necessary to build up one's auditory system and have it deal with any new information coming from the ear if you do suffer with a hearing loss. One other concept that I am really keen on understanding, which it appears that none of these new tech companies getting themselves involved in the hearing tech space seem to be acknowledging, and that's something called the occlusion effect. Typically, with an age-related hearing loss, your hearing will be better in the low tones versus the high tones. This means that if an in-ear hearing aid or earbud-style hearing aid is worn, you may feel a little bit like you've got your fingers stuck in your ears, and your own voice would sound boomy and echoey. Therefore, I imagine that the feeling may be similar with this earbud-style device from Sennheiser if it's a snug fit in your ear. Whether OTC hearing aid manufacturers in general have just omitted this information as an oversight, naivety, or confidence that they've got the features in place to be able to overcome this, I would absolutely love to know if Sennheiser have put something in place to prevent this from happening. Now, this isn't the first product that we've seen from the merging of two tech giants, with Sony joining forces with WS Audiology late on last year and releasing the CRE C10 and more recently the CRE E10. Which I would recommend checking out this video if you're doing your research on technology at a similar price point. It is, however, the first product that we've seen following the marriage of Sonova and Sennheiser, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty good offering. The next big question that I have for you, though, is the world ready for them just yet? Could you see yourself wearing them around the dinner table in a restaurant with friends? Whilst Sennheiser are hiding them in plain sight to look like a cool set of headphones, naturally, if I was with company, I would feel the need to take them out. If I had to explain to the person sat in front of me in a restaurant or the person interviewing me for a job that it wasn't an earbud but a hearing device, then it ends up drawing attention to the device, which is the last thing that most people who have a hearing loss want to do. This conversation wouldn't actually come up with a conventional style of hearing aid. In fact, you're unlikely to see a conventional hearing aid compared to the new wave of earbud assistive hearing tech that's coming out at the moment. I would absolutely love to get your thoughts on this in the comments beneath this video. So, there are some pretty big claims coming from Sennheiser, and there should be for the price tag associated with this. In my opinion, $899 is a lot for a set of earbuds, but at the same time, it isn't a lot for a hearing aid. But they're not hearing aids, and they're not close to being hearing aids either, nor tailorable like an OTC hearing aid is. I would love to know what you guys watching out there think about this tech, and would you pay this amount without audiological support? I do hope that you found this video useful, guys. Make sure you subscribe to be notified when I have these devices in my hands and give them a full review. If you like this video, then go ahead and press like. If you have any questions or comments, then please drop them beneath this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. I'll see you in the next video.